Hey guys, it's Tim and this is Wrestling Unlimited as it is the 19th of November 2022 and we are here to talk about everything that went down tonight on at AEW Full Gear. I thought the show itself was really good. I thought it was a very successful show as far as being a little newsworthy, not super newsworthy, but a little newsworthy. AEW was hyping this up as they should have, as being like extremely newsworthy. And I didn't feel like it was extremely newsworthy, but it was somewhat newsworthy. We had a couple title changes. We had some unexpected title retains. And so a lot that went down. There's a lot to talk about. I didn't see much of any of the pre-show, so I won't really be talking about that, just the main card. Also, if you are watching live on Twitch, sorry for the late start. I had some internet connection issues. I had to restart the internet. Then I figured out, well, it may not be just the internet, so I restarted my computer. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. But if you are watching live, then I want to say thank you for joining me here, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. Also, if I keep scratching on my neck, I got a haircut today. Haven't washed all the stray hairs off yet. But I do want to thank you if you're watching on Twitch, or if you're watching or listening later, whether that's youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited or podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. I also want to thank you if you are watching later. Actually, I just said that. I apologize. I'm kind of flustered with the whole issues and stuff. If you are watching live, though, you can help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and it only gives you one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember, you can help us out over on YouTube. You hit that join button and you become a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access to podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. Also, head over to the Epic Game Store. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're getting the free games or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, Fall Guys, or Rumbleverse, use our code PW Unlimited. Haven't played Marvel Spider-Man from 2018? Haven't played Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales? Well, they're both on the Epic Game Store now. You can use our code PWUNLIMITED. Again, that's PWUMLIMITED at checkout when you get both or either Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, or Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. Two of my all-time favorite games. They're both in my top 5. Highly recommend, if you haven't played those games and you've got a PC that can play games, go get those games. Not just so you can support us, but so you can play some bomb-ass games, because these are awesome games. Like I said, they're in my top 5 of all-time favorite games. My all-time favorite games, I did it the other day, I'll do it again. Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, Uncharted 4, Spider-Man Miles Morales, God of War 2018, The Last of Us 2. They're all my all-time favorite games. Then I would probably throw, right after that, Gran Turismo 2, maybe like the second Spyro the Dragon, Crash, Warped in Time, one of my favorite games as well. So, but yeah, those are my top. Those two games are my top 3 favorite. Spider-Man Miles Morales. And I can't wait till next year when Spider-Man 2 comes out and get it on the PS5. But with that, we've got a show to talk about. Just do some quick hits from the actual pre-show stuff. We had Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, Rocky Romero, and Danhausen defeating QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, Nick Camarado, Lee Johnson, and Cole Carter. We then had Ricky Starks defeat Brian Cage. This now advances Ricky Starks to the finals of the Eliminator Tournament, where he will take on Ethan Page. Winner then goes to Winner is Coming to challenge for the World Championship. Also, give me 1 second, guys. I don't know why this didn't post earlier. Someone just said, hey, you need to post something. Also, Tony Khan did officially announce at the media scrums, Revolution will be Sunday, March 5th, taking place from the Chase Center in San Francisco, California. I might try to go. It's a Sunday, so I don't know if I can make that, because then I'd have to be back. Or, well, it's not that long of a drive. I could probably do it in 3 hours. There, 3 hours back. We'll see. We'll see. I might go. I know I'm going to try to go in January when they're here live for that Dynamite, because that would be a cool review where I do my experience being there live, and then we have Luke who can do his experience of watching on TV and see what the differences are and how the crowd acted and this and that. All right. Then we had one other match on the pre-show. It was Eddie Kingston against Jun Akiyama. And then after, so I watched portions of this match. And then afterwards, Eddie Kingston grabs a mic and says, not to thank him. It's about thanking the fans for showing up tonight and thanking Akiyama for doing the match. Kingston then just starts running down stuff. He goes, I respect guys like Giant Baba and Ricky Dozan and Masawa and Jumbo Tsuruta and Inoki. He's like, and I hope I made all of them proud. He then starts going on and on and on about the show tonight. He's like, we've got Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter. That's the match I'm looking forward to the most. This show's going to be dope and badass. And he's like hyping it up. I'm like, fuck. And Excalibur and them were like, now, tonight on the show we got, and I think it was Shivani goes, why we even got to run it down? Eddie Kingston just did our job for us. And he goes, well, that's what we do here, Shivani. I thought that was pretty funny. So, main card starts. Excalibur and Taz are joined by Jim Ross, good old JR. And the main show opens up with a cage match. Jungle Boy Jack Perry against Luchasaurus. And I did but didn't like this match. I liked the match as a whole, but there was an aspect of this match, fighting outside the cage, that I didn't like. And I get it. This match is, you don't win if you exit the cage. You only win by pin or submission. I get that. I get that's what they do. But I don't like that they were just able to fight outside the cage. What the fuck's the use of the cage? What's the purpose of having the cage? I get it. We see all the time. WWE just did it with Scarlett. You steal the key, you're in charge of the door. Christian stole the key. He tried to get in the door or open the door. But then Luchasaurus gets out. Jungle Boy gets out. They start fighting. They grab tables. They grab chairs. They put them back in there. I don't like that. You're in a cage. Don't exit the cage. If it's win only by pin or submission, if you exit the fucking cage, you should get DQ'd. No, I don't like that. If the goal is not to exit the cage to win, then if you exit the fucking cage, you should be disqualified. That's how I see it. Because it defeats the purpose of the cage. A self-contained cage to keep the wrestlers in and nobody else and everybody else out. But when you're just outside fighting, grabbing weapons to bring them back. No, this ain't Hell in a frickin' Cell. This ain't War Games or Blood and Guts. That peeved me a little bit, as you can tell. Just dumb. Dumb. That they could fight outside the cage and it mean nothing. It's a freaking cage match. They do the cage match to keep them self-contained in the ring. Voy vey. Excalibur informs us as the match is about to start. You can only win this match by pinfall or submission. Jungle Boy used his speed early on as an advantage to avoid the clutches of the bigger Luchasaurus. He hit a springboard off the cage and hit a missile drop kick. Luchasaurus got his grips on Jungle Boy and lawn darted him into the cage and already busted him open. Like, Jungle Boy was bleeding early, bleeding a lot. And Jungle Boy didn't wash his face before the media scrum because he was in the media scrum, but still, like, he wiped his face off, but he still had blood. Like, actually, no, he wiped his face off during the match before he did the elbow drop. And all that blood was still on his face when he went to the media scrum 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4 hours later. Like, hold on. I can even show you this because it was like, what? Come on, guy. You're going to wash all the blood off your face? Hold on. Watch. AEW Media Scrum. The scrum's actually just ended. No, is it still going on now? Well, they are still going on now. Tony Khan's still talking. But I can pause this. I'm not going to play the scrum. But I could show. This is Jungle Boy during the scrums. Like, didn't even wash his face off. Still got all the blood on his face. Like, here's a good shot. Still got all that blood on his face. He's like, it'll make a good visual in the media scrums. Whatever. He was bleeding bad, though. Like, he was bleeding a lot. There's like 4 or 5 people that got busted open tonight, whether that was from the face or the nose or whatever. Nose is part of the face, but anyways. Luchasaurus picked Perry apart at one point, launching him into the cage repeatedly and delivered a razor's edge into the cage for a 2. Perry countered a corner choke slam into an armbar, but was cut off on the top with a massive choke slam by Luchasaurus, who followed this up with a cutthroat for a 2. Luchasaurus then got in the face of the referee, Bryce Remsburg, and that allowed Christian to pick his pocket, or pick the pocket on the outside of Mike. This was so convoluted. You had to have Luchasaurus get in Bryce Remsburg's face, who was in the ring, to then distract Mike Posey outside the ring so Christian can steal the key for the cage. Perry then nails a dive from the ring to the floor. Well, so Christian tries to get into the cage. He opens the door. Security and referees come and they take him away or whatever. Luchasaurus then gets out of the cage like, oh, don't take him. Don't take him. And then Jungle Boy jumps over onto the steps, leaps out, tries to take out Luchasaurus. Where was I? Perry nailed the dive. Luchasaurus blocked another dive and slingshotted Perry into... What the heck is this? Got a random ass junk email. Sorry about that. Where was I? Slingshotted Perry into the cage. Luchasaurus then threw a table, 2 chairs, and then Perry himself into the ring. Luchasaurus took too long, and Jungle Boy hit a series of drop kicks and kicks Luchasaurus's face. Perry then was backdropped on the apron as Luchasaurus tried a chokeslam through a chair. Perry connected into the step up destroyer and then hit a kill switch for a 2 on the chair. Jungle Boy went for another launch off the chair, but this time Luchasaurus blocked it and chokeslammed him right through the chair. The chair busted. The chair just busted. While in the corner, Jungle Boy fought free and hit an avalanche sliced bread. Both men sat up like The Undertaker, and they had a slugfest. Perry refused to stay down as he dropped Luchasaurus with a stalling pile driver for a near fall. Jungle Boy got a sleeper, but Luchasaurus countered into multiple tombstones. Jungle Boy, though, would not quit. Luchasaurus tried to cut through the table, but Jungle Boy got on a sleeper, sat Luchasaurus on the table, and swung a chair right in his face. Jungle Boy then climbed to the top of the cage, kissed to the stars, to the sky, to heaven, his father above, and landed a huge elbow drop off the top of the cage onto the table. He then applied the snare trap, and Luchasaurus tapped out. Post-match, Perry climbed over the cage, hugged his mom and his sister, who were sitting front row. So, fun match. Kind of peeved me a little bit with the whole, you can just get out of the cage and do whatever stuff. But other than that, I really enjoyed this match a lot. I really, really, really did. So then, trios titles were on the line. The Death Triangle defending against the returning Elite. And the Elite's entrance was really cool. They had Carry On, Wayward Son from Kansas. So on the screen, a bunch of stuff set on a screen. Like, I guess it was the lyrics from the song or whatever. And then we just hear, carry on, our wayward son. Don't you cry no more. And then you got the Bucks and Omega in the middle of the ring, or in the middle of the ramp, right at the top of the stage. Kenny does the fireworks and stuff start going off. Nick Jackson and Kenny start to walk down the ramp. Matt Jackson runs to the side. I guess he grabbed Brandon Cutler, Michael Nakazawa, and Don Callis. And they're all singing as they're going down to the ring. Don't you cry no more. Very cool. Very, very cool entrance. They get in the ring. I think it was Excalibur that may have said, these guys have been gone for 2 months. We haven't seen them in a while, and that they've got something to prove. I also loved Taz. I like when like there's a catchy song. Taz likes to try to sing along and stuff. Like when he used to sing Ruby, 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 Soho, Ruby, 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 Soho. But then this one, he was like, you hear Taz on the headset, like just very faintly, but you hear ding, 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 ding. I thought it was super funny. Very funny. In the match itself, very cool. Don Callis did join commentary, and the crowd immediately starts chanting, "Fuck CM Punk! Fuck CM Punk!" And then they transition to a Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana. So we had that early on. Fuck CM Punk chants and Colt Cabana chants. So moving forward, Omega and Pac started off the match with Omega trying his jump over face buster, but Pac landed on his feet and slapped the face of Omega. Next in, Phoenix and Nick Jackson. Doing a mile a minute as we would have expected with their offense before trading high kicks until Penta and Matt joined in for a crazy series of kicks that led to a face-off. And it's like, yep, that's the pairings. Pac and Kenny, Nick and Phoenix, Matt and Penta. We're getting like 5 or 6 more of these matches. We'll talk about that here in a moment. So the crowd's going nuts here as the Bucks hit super kicks on everybody and they stand tall. Penta was taken out with corner kicks from the Bucks and a Hurricane Rana by Omega. Omega then dished out one to Phoenix as well. Nick hit a twisting dive on Pac and took a sip of a fan's soda at ringside. He asked, "Hey, is this diet?" Omega then went for the "you can't escape" on Penta, but the leg was wiped out by Pac, who pounced on a downed Kenny. Death Triangle then hit triple drop kick on Omega and got a near fall off of it. Pac, whose nose was then busted from a dive by Nick Jackson, and it may have been broke, may have not sure, but he's bleeding pretty good. And Pac kept like grabbing at the nose and checking and stuff, and commentary's like, maybe he broke his nose. I don't know exactly. Omega pie faced him down. Matt did locomotion, Northern Light suplexes on both Lucha Bros, but Phoenix did a Cazadora, and Penta did a double stomp off the top to the groin. Matt remained isolated until he hit a Cazadora of his own to make the tag to Nick. Nick did a superb Punk reference by doing a step-up corner knee and running Bulldog out of the corner as Omega tagged in. Like, that's the Punk spot. It's always been known as the CM Punk spot. Kenny would hit a Snapdragon on Penta, and he wiped out Pac as well, and then both of them with the Terminator dive. Phoenix and Nick had a back-and-forth exchange, but that led to Matt hitting a springboard DDT on the apron as Phoenix took a gnarly neck bump. Nick and Penta fought up top, and Nick hit a Super Hurricane Rana and wiped out everybody on the floor. Back inside the ring, Omega hit a leg trap neck breaker, and he attacked the knee of Pac as well. Omega signals for a V-trigger, but Pac countered into a snap German. The Elite then went for a tombstone on Pac, but the Lucha Bros stopped it. The Death Triangle hit triple tombstones. Phoenix then hit a splash off his brother's shoulders out of the corner, hitting a diving destroyer, while Pac hit a black arrow into the brutalizer on Omega. The Bucks made the save, and the Lucha Bros wiped them out outside the ring. Phoenix then hit a spinning corner kick, spinning arm drag, and a double stomp on Omega's ribs. Pac tossed the ring hammer to Phoenix, who refused to use it as Omega laid him out with the V-trigger. Omega then hit a Tiger Driver 98, but Phoenix kicked out at the sound of the Fight Forever chants. The crowd's just going, "Fight forever. Fight forever." Also, commentary made a reference. The Elite's been gone for 2 months. Maybe that was an advantage for Omega, because yes, Omega came back and was cleared to wrestle and everything, but that's 2 extra months he got off to heal up all those injuries he had. There's Sling Blade dished out to everybody by Penta, but he ran into triple super kicks. Nick hit Phoenix with the Poison Rana and was laid out by a BTE trigger, but Pac broke it up. Pac then went for a hammer shot on Omega, but ate a super kick instead. Nick wiped out Pac with a dive. Matt hit a moonsault off the top, while Omega hit Phoenix with the V-trigger. Pac slid Phoenix the hammer as Omega raised him up for the one-winged angel, but Phoenix had no choice. He used the hammer, rolled up Omega, and pinned him 1, 2, 3 to retain the Trios Championships. So Phoenix cheated. Plain and simple. Phoenix actually used the hammer. I thought he would slide him the hammer again and he still would not use it. No. Phoenix used the frickin' hammer. That's an interesting one. So now, how is Penta going to feel about that once he realizes what his brother did? Pac's obviously going to be proud. They retain the championships. And then we learned, well, this ain't it. This ain't it. Two things. So, pull this up on the screen here. Coming up this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, we have learned that's the Death Triangle against the Elite. And you see how it says match 2? That's because we are actually getting a best of 7. AEW World Championships best of 7. All the matches have already been laid out. We will go at least 4 matches. So we will go, match 1 was tonight. Like, I don't know why they couldn't have announced this ahead of time, but it's like, the Elite lost. Let's do a best of 7. Like, this would have been a cool thing to announce ahead of time, but I get why they didn't. Then the following week in Chicago's match 2. The following week after that in Indy is match 3. And Winter is Coming is match 4, which could potentially be the final match. Doubt that's going to be the final match. Then we go into Holiday Bash in San Antonio on December 21st, match 5 if necessary. Denver, Colorado, December 28th, match 6 if necessary, New Year's Smash. And then the return to LA in the Kia Forum if they go to a match 7, January 11th. I can honestly see them going all the way to a match 7 and this being the big, huge main event for LA. I could see it. And then the Bucks regain their belts in Los Angeles. I see it. I see it going all the way. It's gotta, right? It's gotta, right? Moving forward, we had Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose. I'm going to say right now, this might have been Jade's best match so far. I'm just going to say it. This might have been Jade's best match thus far. So they did a special entrance for Nyla, which is actually an Eddie Guerrero entrance. Came out on a lowrider. Vicky was wearing a I'm Your Mommy shirt. And I think Marina was there as well. Jade was Chitara, because you know Jade on pay-per-views. Jade likes to do the whole what's it called? Cosplay stuff. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word cosplay, but this time she was Chitara from Thundercats. Before the bell, Rose attacked Kiera Hogan outside. Cargill took the fight to Rose for the match to officially begin as she hit a pump kick and sent Rose over the over the barricade at ringside. Rose was able to regain control in the ring and hit a leaping splash for a 2. Cargill got a boot up in the corner, leapt off the second rope, and Rose got a boot of her own. Rose blocked the pump kick and tried some suplexes, and Rose hit the knee drop to hang Cargill, to get Cargill down for a 2. Cargill avoided a beast bomb into a forearm for a double down. Cargill was able to power Rose up into a beast bomb of her own. Got another 2. Rose rolled through a jaded, hit one of her own, got a 2 off of it. And I'm like, oh yeah. So they're just trading each other's finishes. Rose then went to the top, missed the senton. Cargill punted her right in the face, hit a jaded and pinned her to go 42-0 and retain the women's championship. So Jade is still undefeated. She's the true TBS champion. And there we go. Like I said, one of Jade's better matches. Also, let me get the times really fast. Here. Times should be on the Wikipedia page. Hot Rob Bubba says, what is Thundercats? Oh boy. Too much for me to explain at the moment. But Thundercats, comic book from, it might be a comic book, but I know it as a cartoon from the 80s and 90s. I can kind of show you. Thundercats. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Thundercats started, I want to say, in the 80s. And they've got like different reincarnations of it and stuff. But here's the gist right here. Here's the gist of it right here. These are the Thundercats. Thundercats, I was never a huge fan of it. I'd watch it when it was on, for sure. But I was never like a massive, oh my God, I love the Thundercats. You know, these are the Thundercats. Pull up their Wikipedia page. These are the Thundercats. Chitara right here is who Jade was supposed to be. Oh, what the heck just happened? Chitara right here is who Jade was supposed to be. Thundercats. Let's see. Trying to see if I can find a good picture of her with her staff and stuff like Jade had that basically broke right during her entrance. Bingo, there's Chitara. Chitara was a badass. I'll say that for sure. So as far as that match does go, that match win, and I can get the times for all the other matches. The TBS title match went 8 minutes. The Trios title match went 18 minutes and 40 seconds. The cage match also went 18 minutes and 40 seconds. As far as the pre-show matches go, the 10-man tag went 11 minutes 55 seconds. The Ricky Starks-Brian Cage match went 10 minutes exactly, and the Eddie Kingston-Jun Akiyama match went 10 minutes and 30 seconds. We then go to the four-way, the Ring of Honor World Championship. This was the second longest match of the night, and it went 21 minutes and 30 seconds. It was Chris Jericho, Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara. And this match, very interesting. Very, very interesting for a number of different things. We had Bobby Cruz doing the entrances as far as the ring announcing, and we had Ian Riccaboni on commentary. On commentary as well. Kid Vicious says, if Chris Statlander comes back, I could her taking the TBS from Jade. Well, Chris Statlander ain't coming back anytime soon. She's got a hurt knee that's going to keep her out of action for at least, 7 more months probably, at least. Jericho and Castagnoli began outside as Danielson and Guevara paired off in the ring before Guevara was sent outside and Danielson hit a dive. Jericho quickly rammed Danielson into the steel steps. Back inside, Jericho ate some Danielson chops and ping-ponged with uppercuts by the Blackpool Combat Club before Guevara made the save. Castagnoli and Danielson hit charging corner attacks, shook hands, and started swinging at one another. I like that a lot. They're like, it's just us. All right, let's beat each other's ass. There was rolling arm drag by Danielson, but Castagnoli powered up into a series of near falls. Jericho fought off both men, but was planted with flapjacks into a double single crab. Guevara put a stop to it and hit a double cutter and tried stealing the pin. Jericho and Guevara then posed in the middle of the ring and dispatched of Claudio and delivered a delayed suplex on Danielson as they both went to the bad eye. Jericho and Guevara took turns lighting up Danielson with some chops before the tables were turned and Danielson dished out kicks to both of them. Guevara landed on his feet after a super hurricane rana by Danielson and hit a standing Spanish fly. Jericho nailed a lion salt and landed on both men as a result. Castagnoli returned and hit a charging double stomp on Jericho for a 2. Castagnoli tried to springing uppercut, but Jericho countered into a code breaker. Guevara broke up the pin attempt, and Jericho couldn't believe it. Both men shoved one another, and this led to a striking exchange, with Guevara getting a 2 off of a code breaker. Guevara tried the walls of Jericho, but Jericho countered into his own. Danielson tried to break it up with a drop kick, but got locked in the walls of Jericho. Jericho no-sold Castagnoli's big boot, so he dropped Jericho with a suplex and sank in a sharpshooter. Jericho tried to pin Danielson while in the hold, but Danielson kicked out and locked on a label lock. Guevara broke it all up with some super kicks, and instead of going for Castagnoli or Danielson, Guevara opted to help Jericho and dropped him with a GTH and hit him with a shooting star press, and that got me. I thought that was it. I go, oh, Sammy's going to win. And then the big feud going into Final Battle is Sammy versus Jericho. They didn't do it, though. How cool would that have actually been? Jericho goes, baby. Sammy's the heel. He stole the belt from Jericho. And now the big, we were friends. We were closer than friends, you know, going into the pay-per-view. They need something going into that Ring of Honor pay-per-view on December 10th, and they got nothing right now. Talk about what Jericho's got next, but we'll get there. Their anvil elbows just pissed off Danielson. He no-sold them and slapped the taste out of his mouth. Guevara, that is. Castagnoli pressed Guevara over his head and launched him down to the floor onto Jericho. Castagnoli turned around and ate a Busaku knee. It gave Danielson only a 2 count. Castagnoli and Danielson took turns with anvil elbows as Castagnoli tried a pop-up uppercut, but Danielson got a backslide for a 2. Guevara hit a springboard cutter on Castagnoli and a Spanish fly off the ropes on Danielson, who quickly locked into the bell lock, though. Jericho broke it up, and everybody spilled to the outside, where Danielson was planted with a neutralizer by Castagnoli. Guevara hit a shooting star outside. He tried to springboard back in the ring, but Claudio hit a pop-up uppercut for a 2. There was a giant swing to Guevara at one point that was broken up as Jericho hit a leaping Judas effect to stop the move, and another proper one to pin Claudio and retain the title. But they did show some little dissension. There's also one point where Jericho's going for a pin. Sammy jumps in the ring, and he's like, don't stop this. And Sammy's just got to back off. And then I think it was Excalibur that was like, how is his wife going to feel when she knows that he didn't even try to win the match there or continue the match? Like if the match would have ended right there with Jericho winning, how would his wife would have felt about him just giving Jericho the win? But I think there could be something to the fact of he hit him with the GTH, he hit him with the shooting star, he tried to pin him. Maybe they go somewhere with that. I don't know though. But Jericho does retain the title. Fast forward later on in the night. We've got Jericho backstage with Hager. They're being interviewed when Orange Cassidy walks in. He goes, hey, you want to face another former champion? Well, I got a friend. His name's Tomohiro Ishii, and he wants to challenge you next Wednesday for that Ring of Honor World Championship. Jericho's like, I've heard a lot about this Ishii guy. They say he's tough. I'll fight him. And then Jericho walks off. Hager steps forward. He goes, what's in the bag? MJF takes the backpack off, pulls out the All-Atlantic Championship. He goes, you like this? You want a shot at it on Wednesday? Hager's like, yeah. And then he says something about Hager's hat, and Hager's like, I like this hat. And he walks off. So then we had Rhea against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Here's the thing. Saraya looked good. There's a lot of crap given to this match online, and I think it's unwarranted. First off, how many shitty AEW women's division matches do we get every week? A lot. Was this better than all those? Oh, hell yeah. It's one of the better AEW women's matches we've seen in a very long time. Was this match 100% perfect? Oh, no. Were there some clunky spots? Yes. Is there somebody in this match that hasn't had a match or worked in front of a live crowd to do a match in 1,788 days? Yes. Benefit of the fucking doubt. Everyone going out going, this match sucked. Fuck this. I don't want to see Saraya anymore. Like there's a lot of people just fucking shitting on it to shit on it. Unwarranted. For freaking, again, somebody that hasn't had a match in 5 years, and then probably Britt also going out there wanting to be as safe as she can with Saraya, whatever you. Her brother kept saying Saraya. I have a cousin named Saraya, so that's why I keep saying Saraya all the time. So I don't know what it is. It's Saraya, whatever it is. Yeah. Anyways, like for all the things against them, the circumstances, and all all that, this match is pretty damn good. I will say that, thoroughly enjoyed this match. I thought these women worked great together and would love to see it again. Maybe not right away, but I would love to see this match again. Heck, give me Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter Wednesday against Toni Storm and Saraya. Give me a tag match on Wednesday. As far as the matches go, the first bump Saraya took, the referee had to check on her. She took her time getting up and then smiled over at Britt. Saraya hit a thrust kick that sent Baker to the floor to regroup. Baker avoided the baseball slide and dropped Saraya with a spinning neck breaker on the floor. Baker applied a cavat and got in the face of Saraya's brother at ringside, Zach Zodiac. Back inside, Baker really zoned in on the neck of Saraya, hitting a midsection neck breaker, and then she sent Saraya to the outside again. Baker talked too much trash, though, and was dropped face first on the apron as Saraya answered with a crossbody. Both ladies traded forearms until Saraya hit a series of short clotheslines for a 2. Baker blocked a corner boot and sent Saraya face first into the turnbuckle. Saraya hit a page turner, or as they called it, the nightcap, which and it got a near fall off of it. Baker nearly surprised Saraya with a lockjaw, but Saraya got to the ropes. There was an air raid crash that dropped Saraya to give Baker a 2. Baker then hit a curb stomp, but Saraya would not quit. She kicked out. Baker went for an avalanche air raid crash, but Saraya countered it into a sunset flip bomb for a 2. There's a fisherman driver that got Saraya a 2. She couldn't believe that Britt kicked out. Saraya then tried a full Nelson, but Britt spun out into a lockjaw. It traded a series of roll-ups, and Baker tried a ripcord, but Saraya hit a knee strike for a 2. Then there was a spot where Saraya had that submission back in the day where it looks like you're going for a clover leaf, then you roll them over, and then she grabs them by like the arms or whatever. So like she's got them off the mat, and the legs all twisted up, and she's ranking at the arms to bend the back or whatever. And she looked like she was going to go for that. But then she like does half of the move with the legs, and she rolls her over, and then she's just smiling, standing there. And Britt's like trying to reach for the ropes, but not really fully trying to reach for the ropes. And Saraya's kind of just standing there for a second, which is very weird, until finally Britt like untwists her legs, does like a drop toe hold, and Saraya goes face first into like the middle buckle. It was kind of weird, awkward. It was like, all right, I'm going to do the move. Now I'm just going to wait for Britt to drop me. Britt, what are you doing? Drop me. Drop me. There we go. So that was kind of weird. Baker hit a ripcord elbow, spinning neck breaker, and a curb stomp, but again, Saraya kicked out. Saraya then hit a charging knee and a fisherman's driver. She then hit another fisherman's driver. Also, that was the former Rampage, but they haven't given it a new name. At least I didn't hear what new name they gave it, if they did. But she hit her with 2 former Rampages and pinned her to pick up the victory. I like this match a lot. I think these two worked great together. One of the better AEW women's division matches I've seen in a very long time. So everyone on Twitter talking shit, fuck off. Then a triple threat for the TNT Championship. It was Wardlow defending against the ROH Television Champion Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs. Action-packed battle of just 3 big old hosses. I thought this was a great way for this match to go. I enjoyed the crap out of this. Like, this is one of the better AEW pay-per-views. I've said, like, I like this match. I like this match. I like this match. There's been AEW pay-per-views where I go, yeah, this match sucked. Yeah, that match sucked. This match. I think probably, let's see. The worst match of the night was probably, and I'm talking just main card, the TBS title match. But that Sting Derby, that was right around there too. And I still thought both matches, I thought they were the worst matches of the night, but still not bad. I can't say a bad thing about really many of these matches. No, I shit all over the cage match because they're fighting outside the cage, but that's a whole different story. Wardlow immediately went to Joe on the floor, posting him before Hobbs steamrolled the TNT champion. Hobbs controlled both early on, delivering clubbering blows on Wardlow and jumping Joe with a T-bone suplex, dropping Joe. Wardlow then scurried up the ropes and hit a twisting dive to wipe everybody out and gain control. There was a crushing senton delivered to Hobbs, but Joe hit a running senton of his own. Wardlow was dispatched as Joe raked the face of Hobbs and hit a charging boot. Wardlow jumped back in and was quickly planted with a snap power slam. Joe locked Hobbs in a guillotine, but Wardlow mowed them down. Hobbs was lit up with Wardlow corner strikes as Joe ran into a spine buster for a 2. Hobbs and Wardlow spilled to the floor where Joe wiped both out with a dive. Joe tried a powerbomb on Wardlow, but Hobbs did a pounce on Joe, so destructive that it may have made Monty Brown go, whoa! Back inside the ring, Hobbs flattened Wardlow with a spine buster for a close 2. Also, this match, my buddy did the notes, so that Monty Brown line was his. Kudos to Mark. This is the one match that I was kind of simultaneously doing 2 things at once. So I watched the match, but couldn't take notes at the same time. He also did that for me in the following match. So these 2 matches, the notes are from Mark, my buddy Mark. So kudos to him for that Monty Brown line. Where was I? Back in the ring, Hobbs flattened Wardlow with a spine buster for a close 2. Wardlow and Hobbs jockeyed for position. Wardlow fired off 2 power bombs, but as he went for a third, Joe wiped him out and went for the TNT title. Joe locked on the Coquina clutch on Hobbs, who then passed out, giving Joe the victory. Double champ. Joe is now a double champ. Joe wins the TNT title. He's already the Ring of Honor TV champion, so double belt Joe. Double belt Joe. We go to the back where we talked about this segment. It was the whole Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy stuff. And then go on to get a no DQ, no disqualification, no count out, whatever tag team match. Darby Allin and Sting against Jay Lethal. Also, Saraya match. Saraya Bear Baker went 12.5 minutes. The TNT title match went 9 minutes and 55 seconds. This tag match went 11 minutes. So Jarrett brought out 4 guys dressed as Sting during his entrance. A body bag was then shown on the ramp as Jay Lethal ran up to see what it was. Smoke started coming out. There was an explosion, and he's like, ah! And then Allin flew through the smoke and wiped him out. The real Sting was behind Jeff Jarrett in the ring. The bell sounded, and the match started, and we got a freaking TNA chant. The crowd's going, TNA, 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 TNA. And I'm like, yes, a TNA chant in 2022. Heck yeah. Oh, heck yeah. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Because freaking Prime Sting Jarrett TNA. At the time, I was watching more TNA than WWE at that time. When freaking Jeff Jarrett and Sting were on top fighting for the NWA's World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah, I was watching more TNA then than WWE because they had my interest more. That's when you had AJ over there. You had Abyss. You had Raven. You had Monty Brown. You had America's Most Wanted. Like right there when Sting came in. You had all these big names within TNA, of course. I mean, Monty Brown was big in TNA. He tried to go to WWE and it didn't really work out. But, like, that time was freaking great for TNA. He also said that we're 10 days shy of the 23-year anniversary of the first ever Jeff Jarrett versus Sting match. I didn't realize that they never had a match against one another until 2000. The end of 2000. Holy crap. I thought, because Jarrett was in WWF, then went to WCW, then went back to WWF, then went back to WCW. I thought the first time they could have probably had a match. Nope. No. Anyways, TNA chants. Lethal was launched off the top at one point and took a flare flop on the edge of the apron that looked nasty. All 4 men spilled into the crowd until Allin set up a ladder on the stage. He tried a coffin drop off it onto the stage, but landed in Satnam Singh's clutches. Singh then threw Allin like a sack of potatoes clear up the ramp, and Taz giggled on commentary, questioning what's wrong with himself. He's like, why am I laughing? Singh saved Lethal in the crowd from a fall, but Sting leapt off the crowd onto both Satnam and Lethal. The action went to the ring. The crowd's going wild. Well, kind of wild. They went wild for the Sting dive, and then they kind of just died off from there. Jarrett did his strut, and Lethal isolated Allin. Sting was able to make the hot tag and dish out a Stinger splash, and got a Scorpion Deathlock on Jarrett. Sting no-sold Dutt trying to break it up, so Singh stepped in and delivered a vicious chokeslam to Sting. Remember, no disqualification. Allin and Lethal tagged in as a lethal combination. got a 2 count on Allen. Jarrett wanted the guitar shot and nearly hit Lethal, but pulled it. As Jarrett was knocked down and Lethal hit a float over stunner, Allen went for a coffin drop, and as he leapt off backwards, can't see what's going on, Jarrett, boo, swings the bat right across the back of Darby Allin. Just wipes him out. Allen, though, kips up and no-sold it. Delivers a Sting-esque backhand as Sting wiped out Sanjay Dutt. Sting came back in, missed a splash, and then Sting did a Scorpion Death Drop, and then he did a Scorpion Death Drop. Darby did a Coffin Drop. Jarrett was wiped out by Allen off of a dive, while Lethal tried a lethal combination, but fell into a Scorpion Death Drop in midair. Allen then hit a Coffin Drop and Lethal, and then pinned him to pick up the victory. A lot of stuff going on there towards the end of the match. But overall, it was fine. Wasn't bad, wasn't great, but it was exactly what it needed to be. It was exactly what it needed to be. Then we had the AEW Interim Women's Championship match. It was Toni Storm defending against Jamie Hayter. I'm just going to say asterisk. Put an asterisk next to Jamie Hayter's name. Yes, Jamie Hayter won, but how much? How are we supposed to take her serious as a champion when she couldn't keep Toni Storm down on her own and she needed how much help? Rebel comes down, distracts the ref. Rebel hits Toni with the belt. Britt takes out Toni Storm with a stomp on the outside. Still can't keep her down. Then we'll just get into the match because this shit gets way too overcomplicated and way too overbooked. Like, way. So the crowd is really behind Jamie Hayter as the opening grappling exchange got Storm some boos whenever she was in control. When I say they were into Jamie Hayter, when Jamie Hayter won this match, it was like a freaking Stone Cold Pop almost. This crowd went, yeah! Everybody's arms in the fucking building flew up. All like 8,000 people or however many were there. So both ladies tried their finishers early on, but the other had it countered. And then we got a little face-off. There's a shotgun drop kick that sent Hayter to the apron, where Storm hit a sweet chin music to the floor. At one point, Toni Storm was like, hey, kiss my ass. Right to Jamie Hayter. Hayter gained the advantage at one point and launched Storm into the guardrail, but Storm posted Hayter multiple times to answer. Storm hit 2 chops against the post, but missed the third and chopped the steel, which is interesting because she's doing this move where she's got Jamie Hayter up against the post on the outside. She hits 1 chop, boom. And then I think it was Taz was like, you need to be careful with that though, because if you miss, you're gonna hit you can hit the post. She hits the second one, boom. She's like, she's doing good so far. And it's like someone told them, hey, she's gonna hit the post. Give him a heads up. And then she goes for the third chop. Jamie ducks, and then boom, her hand slaps the steel. And I'm like, oh, either Taz is a mind reader and just knows what's gonna happen, or someone fed that to him, saying, we know what spot's coming next. She's gonna hit the post. Give them a heads up of that's a bad thing. That your hand can get really hurt. The Hayter controlled the action inside the ring and used nonchalant cover just to get into the mind of Toni Storm. Storm mounted a comeback and used another sweet chin music and a top rope crossbody for a 2. Both traded counters until Storm hit a tornado DDT. There's a forearm exchange before Storm hit a headbutt, and both ladies collapsed with Storm on the top for a 2. Rebel snuck down to ringside as Hayter and Storm traded blows. Storm's nose was busted open at this point as Hayter took the ref. Rebel then smacked Toni Storm with the belt. She was bleeding before she got hit with the belt. And Hayter hit a sliding lariat and only got a 2 off of it. Referee Paul Turner saw Rebel jump up on the apron, still with the belt in hand. Come on, dummy. As Storm leveled Hayter with a ripcord lariat, she got a 2 off of this. Storm tried a hip attack a couple of times, and the third time was sent to the outside. Storm fell down, knocked over Rebel, who had the belt. Rebel drops the belt. and Rebel drops the belt. Toni Storm is like seated over the belt on all fours. All of a sudden, somebody in a hoodie runs up, jumps up, boom! Curb stomps her right face first onto the belt. Baby Huey, what's going on? Baby Huey, follow. Baby Huey should just jump on the podcast with me. Anyways, she takes a curb stomp onto the belt face first from, as we learned, it's Britt Baker. Britt's going wild, throwing her back in the ring, yelling at Jamie to go for the pin, go for the pin. Amy Hayter planted Storm with a Storm Zero. And I'm like, oh, she hit her with her own move. This ain't the finish yet. Because, well, she kicked out. There's a Haterade that was missed, but a Storm Zero hit from the champ as Hayter kicked out of 2. Then Britt Baker jumps on the top rope, and she's like trying to yank the turnbuckle pad off, and she's trying to yank at the turnbuckle pad and trying to yank it off, and she's just sitting here with like her body up over the freaking top rope. She's like this, and I'm like, hey ref, come on, don't be a dummy. What the what? And the ref looked over once at least and saw her and didn't do nothing about it at all. Then Jamie Hayter was thrown into her, and as Britt falls off the apron, she pulls the freaking turnbuckle pad with her. She falls to the floor. Storm then charged, but ran into the exposed buckle. Hayter then finally hit the Haterade. Crowd goes bananas. As Jamie Hayter becomes the brand new AEW Interim Women's World Champion. Yes, still interim. They were asked about that in the media scrum. They were like, hey, you know, Toni Storm didn't like the word interim. What do you think of the word interim? And she's like, oh, well, I know Toni wants to give Thunder Rosa all the opportunities to try and win her title back, but whatever he wants to do, we'll do. I'm like, really? Come on, just say you don't like it. Be like Toni Storm. Just say I don't like it. And that match itself went 15 minutes. Then we go to our semi-main. The tag team titles. The AEW World Tag Team Championships on the line. It's the Acclaimed against Swerve in Our Glory. Or should I say the former Swerve in Our Glory. This match went 19 minutes and 40 seconds. Caster delivered an extended rap. That's heard him rap about Kanye, Twitter, Jay and Silent Bob, Monsters Inc., and Blindside references as well. Excalibur said that Billy Gunn was not out here tonight because he didn't want his emotions to get the best of him accidentally get involved in the match, and possibly cost Acclaim the titles, which I liked that. Also, they really played up the fact that Anthony Bowens is injured, but not too injured to not work the match. He's got a shoulder thing. He's got a messed up shoulder, but it wasn't enough to not, like, he's not hurt enough to where they say you can't work. So, he's got a shoulder thing, but it's not super bad, which is good because he was in a sling all week. Well, since Wednesday. So Keith Lee tried to powerbomb on Bowens early, but Caster turned it into a Hurricane Rana. The Acclaimed clotheslined Lee over the top rope as Lee really smacked his shin hard against the edge of the ring. And Taz said something about he's done that and like slit his shin open. I'm like, oh, Bubba. So where were we? There's a Scissor Me Timbers leg drop to the groin delivered to Strickland, who fought back and isolated Bowens on his side of the ring. Strickland went into the crowd and grabbed a barricade as Lee told him, don't do it. He set it up like here's the side of the ring. So he set it up like this onto the floor. And Keith Lee's like, hey, we ain't going to use that. We're not cheating. What the hell, guy? That was kind of the theme of the match, which I felt like it took away from the match. This was probably the worst of the 3 matches. Still a great match. But I felt like Swerve just wanting to cheat after cheat after cheat and Keith Lee telling him not to kind of overshadowed the match, in my opinion. So, where were we? He sets that up on the apron to the floor. Lee told him not to do it, and Strickland told him to worry about Bowens as Lee clobbered him with an overhead chop. Strickland tried to suplex Bowens onto the barricade, but Bowens reversed it. Lee kept Bowens isolated inside the ring. as he and Strickland took turns picking Bowens apart until Bowens hit a reverse Rana on Lee. Max Caster made the tag and ran wild with a dive on Strickland outside, but tried to lift Lee, and it was not happening. So he settled for a Hurricane Rana off the second rope. Caster was cut off in the corner. He fought Lee off and hit a super famouser off the top for a 2. Bowens nearly drop-kicked Strickland onto the barricade, but Lee saved his partner. Caster then went to the top and hit a crazy-looking crossbody off the top onto Lee, who was on the apron, through the barricade at ringside. Bowens then hit a DDT off the ropes on Strickland for a 2. There's a roll-through flatliner from Strickland that planted Bowens. At one point, Bowens was taken down by Strickland. He went for the pin and he kicked out at 2. Strickland went for a swerve stomp and missed it. Bowens hit the arrival. Caster reappeared and hit the mic drop, but Lee broke up the pin. Strickland fought off a double team and dropped Caster with a brainbuster. Lee beeled Caster clear across the ring as Lee and Strickland hit a fall from glory. Caster somehow kicked out at 2. Caster made the blind tag off of a powerbomb attempt, which resulted in Lee powerbombing Caster onto Bowens. Caster was then launched into the ring attendance table, and Strickland found some pliers that for some reason they kept calling cutters. They're not cutters, they're pliers. And so the crowd's starting to kind of die here, and they're getting tired, and you can hear it. And he finds these pliers, grabs Bowens. I think it was Bowens. No, Caster? Actually, didn't write down who it was. He grabs one of the Acclaimed. I think it was Bowens. No. I can tell you in 2 seconds, actually. Hold on. I didn't write it down, but I do have the clip on Twitter. It was... Let's see. Caster. We took Caster, and he's got these pliers, and he's got his hand. He's like, I'm going to get your fingers. I'm going to get your fingers. And all of a sudden, you just hear, and out comes Daddy Ass. Daddy Ass wakes up the crowd, runs down, stops Swerve from busting up the fingers of Max Caster. Referees all get in the way, so Billy Gunn can't do anything. Strickland then jumps in the ring and wants, Keith Lee to use the pliers, and Keith Lee's like, no, and he grabs them and he throws them. Strickland then looks right at Keith Lee in the face and slaps him across the face. Lee then helps Bowens to his feet, looks at Swerve, and walks off. Just leaves the ring. Bowens then got a schoolboy on Strickland and a 2 off of it. Bowens reversed a JML driver into a blind tag to Caster as the Acclaimed hit their finish to put away Swerve Strickland and retain the tag team championships, to where Excalibur then notes, Swerve Strickland could get another title shot, but after what just went down, looks like it's going to have to be with a different partner if that ever does happen. Now we're finally going into Swerve versus Keith Lee. I don't know when exactly the match is going to happen. Maybe winter is coming, but we're getting it, and we're probably getting it sometime soon. This is when they formally announced best of 7 for the Trios Championships, where tonight was actually match 1. We also learned a couple new things for this Wednesday's Dynamite. No new things. They just reaffirmed everything. Ricky Starks will be taking on Ethan Page at the finals of the Title Eliminator Tournament. Chris Jericho will defend the ROH World Heavyweight Championship. Chris Jericho will defend the ROH World Championship against Tomohiro Ishii. And Orange Cassidy will defend the All-Atlantic Championship against Jake Hager. And then we do go into our main event. It's Jon Moxley defending the World Championship against MJF. MJF comes out first. And he does his whole entrance, and he walks down the ramp, and he stops. And he looks to his right, and he walks over to a woman standing right next to a guy with a sign that says Devil Worshipper. And he says, "May I?" She says, "Sure." And he motorboats her titties. Yes, I just said that on a podcast. MJF motorboated her titties on his way to the ring. That's a thing that happened tonight. So Regal comes out with Moxley, but he leaves before the match actually begins. The got us firmly behind MJF. And, well, Moxley don't care. Moxley gets booed, so he flips off the fans. Yeah, he don't give a damn. Rat's ass. They're chanting for MJF, and Taz goes, well, that's probably the first time Long Island got cheered in Newark. And then Excalibur's like, well, ain't it close enough? Ain't this like the tri-state area or whatever? And Taz's like, yeah, you could call it that. And he's kind of got annoyed with Excalibur for a minute there when he's trying to like make some like New York, New Jersey reference stuff that it's like maybe he does but doesn't know fully what he's talking about. And Taz is getting annoyed because he's, I don't know. But you could hear when he tried to be like, but ain't this the tri-state area? And isn't this and this kind of similar? And this and that. And Taz is just like, yeah, sure, you could say that. Whatever, Excalibur. So Moxley quickly fired off some strikes till MJF did a Fargo strut to avoid a drop down. MJF teased to dive to the floor, but didn't do it and just did a little cardio and hit the ropes a bunch. Moxley bit MJF and flipped off the crowd, saying that he loves. He booed. There was a suplex slam into a STF by Moxley as MJF bit at Moxley's hand. Moxley did the deal and got a Falcon Arrow into a cross-arm breaker, but MJF scurried it to the ropes. Moxley grabbed the title at ringside and held it up high, and then MJF spit a drink in his face. They're like, whoa, where'd that drink come from? And Taz goes, oh, it's probably a soda pop. I see a cup sitting at ringside. And we're like, yeah, you aged yourself there, Taz. No one calls it a soda pop anymore. I had a neighbor growing up where their dad always said, you want a pop? You want a pop? I'm like, you're not that old. I'm calling it a pop. I even told him one time, I said, hey, don't call it a pop, Pops. He didn't take too kindly to that. But anyways, MJF then sent Moxley to the steps after spitting the drink in his face. MJF fired off some jabs inside the ring and sent Moxley to the corner 10 times and then went to the floor and sent him to the timekeeper's table, kissing the belt in the process. MJF then took too long and Moxley fired back and hit a cutter and a stomp to the face to loud boos. Moxley teased the Gotch pile driver through the table, but MJF blocked it and hit a tombstone on the apron. As he did, his knee pad kind of like slid down, and this was weird because I couldn't tell if this was legit or if MJF was just really good at selling. He does this tombstone and immediately yells, ah, fuck! Grabs his knee and goes, shit, and then proceeds to not put weight on the knee for a minute or two. And he's grabbing at the leg. He's like, oh, my fucking God. Like, he's hurt or something. But when he yelled, he screamed out right after, like, he hits the tombstone and immediately, ah, fuck, shit. And I'm like, oh, is he okay? And during the media scrum, so he's in the media scrum. He's not there for long, and he's prancing around back and forth. He's going this way. He's going that way. I got to get on a jet and go film a movie. But, and maybe I was just looking into this too much. Looked like he was limping a little bit. Looked like he was just slightly limping just a little during his little 3-4 minute thing at the media scrum. So he does the tombstone. They go back on the apron, and Moxley hits the pile driver through the table. MJF barely beat the 10 count and rolled into a paradigm shift for a 2. Moxley locked on a figure 4 on the bad leg. And when he starts going after the leg, I'm like, okay, it's probably not an injury. And then my roommate's sitting here watching me, goes, well, it's Moxley. He probably doesn't even care and is going to kick the leg anyways, even if he is really hurt. I'm like, yeah, you got a point there. MJF wouldn't quit, though, as he reversed the submission and Moxley grabbed the ropes. Moxley spilled to the apron as MJF hit a heat seeker for a 2. MJF went for it again, but this time Moxley chop blocked the bad leg. Moxley got crotched into the ropes as MJF cut him off. Moxley hit an anvil elbow. Moxley connected with an avalanche paradigm shift that looked whole bad. Like, bad for both guys, because MJF came down hard on his head, and Moxley landed right on his frickin' tailbone. MJF got his fingertips, like, here's the ropes, here's his finger, like barely right there. Barely got his fingertips on the rope to break the pin, or stop the pin, whatever you want to call it. Moxley then jaw-jacked with the fans, which allowed MJF time to recover, and he spit in the face of Moxley, and Moxley was like, come on, punch me, motherfucker. Come on, you son of a bitch. He dared MJF, and MJF spit in his face, and he, boom, knocks him right back down. MJF finally gets up, and they start trading forearms. There was a yeah, boo spot from the crowd. Yeah, boo, which led to MJF pulling the ref into a charging Moxley. MJF pulled the Dynamite Diamond Ring out of his trunks and contemplated actually using it when William Regal would make his way out to the ring and said, don't do it. Don't do it. There's another referee that was like trying to stop Regal at one point from doing anything. Then he jumped in the ring when he realized the referee was down. And he throws the ring. MJF doesn't want to use it. There's a bulldog choke by Moxley. And MJF starts tapping because, well, there's no referee, though. Because the second referee also gets knocked the fuck out. So Moxley realizes there's no ref. Regal starts yelling at Moxley to grab a ref, to get the referee. And when Moxley's now distracted by trying to wake up Bryce Remsburg, William motherfucking Regal reaches in, grabs the brass knucks, and basically hands the power of the punch to MJF. Yes, William Regal handed MJF, well, tossed MJF brass knucks. MJF then puts on the knucks, punches Moxley right in the frickin' dome, falls on him, and pins in 1, 2, 3. We have a new AEW World Champion. They then cut to William Regal on the ramp, who's smirking like, gotcha. And MJF in the ring. Oh, boy, with the belt. And then they say it. Seems like Regal has sold his soul to the devil. Which wouldn't be the first time, because he did it to Mr. McMahon. I mean, he joined the Kiss My Ass Club. So, Regal assisted MJF in becoming the new world champion. Now, I thought, he throws the ring out and he goes, I don't need this ring, because I thought the Firm was going to come out. I thought the Firm was going to help MJF win this match. Nope. No Stokely, no Page, no Morrissey, no Guns, no Moriarty, none of them. No Firm. But that sneaky, conniving Lord William Regal. Now on the side of MJF. So we assume. We don't know for sure. Maybe he's just tired of Mox and wanted to screw over Mox, but doesn't like MJF. But he's been talking up MJF over the last couple of weeks. So he does like MJF. But what a great way to end the show, because now it's like, is it Wednesday yet? What is Moxley going to say? What is Regal going to rebut? Because Moxley's going to come out here, probably open the show and be like, Regal, gotta have ourselves a little chat. And Regal's going to come out and go, hey, you didn't see it coming, did you? You think you could trust me? You think you can ride my coattails? You think you can use me to make yourself relevant again? After all the problems you had, you think you can use me? Something like that. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know. But it's interesting, and I like it, and it's got me wanting to watch Dynamite for sure. Like, it's got me to where I'm like, I can't miss Dynamite. Like, there's weeks where I'm like, we're going into a Dynamite, and I'm like, this show's going to be all right. This show's going to be... No. This was a great end of the show, great finish, and it's boom. Got me intrigued to the point of where I want more. I want more. But with that, guys, overall, a great AEW Dynamite. Also, this main event match did go, not Dynamite, Full Gear, 23 minutes and 15 seconds. But I thought it was a great pay-per-view. I thought it was awesome. They kept calling it sold out. I heard that there were very little empty seats. It can still be a sold out show. People don't show up for some reason, but very little empty seats, I was told by people in attendance. So that's good to know. Now, I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you guys thought of tonight's AEW Dynamite. Remember, you can text into 510 906 1341. Again, that's 510 906 1341. But also, I'll take your phone calls. If you guys want to call in, I'll also take your phone calls. But you guys, come on and fully tell me what you think of the show. But if you don't want to call, you can always text. That's fine. We got a couple of text messages. Actually, that's weird. Got a text message in the last 45 minutes about SmackDown. That's an interesting one. But as far as that goes, before we get into the text message and potential phone calls, we'll get into the polls. As far as the Twitch poll does go, 90% liked tonight's AEW Full Gear, with 10% thinking it was just all right. As far as the Twitter poll does go, why won't this load? There we go, Twitter. As far as the Twitter poll does go, what the heck? Why can't I? 75% liked the show, 17% thought it was just all right, and 6% did not like it. And finally, basically the same thing on the YouTube poll as well. 76% liked the show, 14% thought it was just all right, and 11% did not like it. From the comments here, one says, excellent. This is amazing title matches. Still got to catch my breath from the ending. AEW Full Gear to WWE Survivor Series. I'm better than you, and you know it. This person says, great show. 3 things I didn't like. 1, Jade and Nyla. 2, Joe winning the TNT title. And 3, Tony Storm getting pretty much buried. I wouldn't say Tony Storm got buried. And this person says, Jim Cornette will love how MJF is the new champion. That's funny. As far as text messages do go, remember you can text into 510-906-1341. Again, that's 510-906-1341. Got a text message here about SmackDown. I'm not going to read that one because we're not talking SmackDown anymore. And this person says, what are your thoughts on Samoa Joe becoming a double champion? Cool. I like it. And I like that Wardlow didn't get pinned. Now we're going to move into just a singles match probably. Wardlow and Joe potentially at Winter is Coming. This person here says, with MJF now the world champion, who do you see being his first challenger? Ricky Starks or Ethan Page? I think it's Ethan Page, and MJF just steamrolls him. Not like a squash match, but MJF wins pretty easily. And one last text message here. One says, I want it load. Come on. And it froze on me. Give me 1 second, guys. Now that Swerve in Our Glory is no longer a group, who picks up the victory? Who do you think Tony Khan would book over the other? Keith Lee or Swerve Strickland? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. But I would say you build up Keith Lee. As far as you give him this win against Swerve, then you start giving him a bunch more wins and you build him up to eventually have him challenge MJF. I'd like to see that. Or maybe Joe. Maybe challenge Joe for the TNT title. Joe goes on, retains the title a couple times, and then defends against Keith Lee when he's done with Swerve. I just think Keith Lee should come out of this victorious and be built up as a title contender, whether that's to the TNT title or the AEW World title. I'd love to see Keith Lee challenge for the World title, though. And refresh this one last time. That is all we got. So I want to say thank you for joining me. If you're watching live, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, or if you're watching or listening later, whether that's youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, or podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. I got nothing tomorrow on Sunday, so So I'll be back Monday morning for the wrestling wrap-up, and then we got Monday Night Raw on Monday evening. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your weekend. I will see you later. Have a good one, guys.